This is your WW3 news. Colonialism. What effects it had on the populations they conquered, whether it's in positive or negative ways. Well, colonialism, many European countries had done this a few centuries ago, like the British, French, Spanish, and Portuguese. The English, they created a Commonwealth, which practically for 300 years held almost half the practical world in their hands. And then you got the French and various African populations, countries, and you got the Spanish, had conquered most of Latin America. Through the conquistadors, they destroyed indigenous tribes like Indios and descendants of the Aztecs, Mayas, and other type of populations which were before the Spanish were there. Then the French, like I said, Portuguese, Brazil. Obviously, each nation has brought their culture and language, and it's still a permanent, how do you say, mark on these new societies. Customs, languages, laws, and all that stuff. Colonialism, and the negative part, like with the conquistadors, they destroyed everything. And indigenous populations of South America, and even bringing in smallpox virus as well, which had decimated most of these native indigenous of this continent of Latin America. The French, basically they always exploited their people who they conquered, really. And most of these countries gained independence, mainly the Africans, when they gained independence after a few years, their society collapsed because they don't know how to be independent, to govern themselves. Like for instance in India and places like that where the British Empire was, still today they have solid roots of British culture, the language, and some type of customs, because it's very essential. Those people come from other countries to seek a better life in the West, how they behave and their level of education, the way it is. Obviously, if they come from countries which they were never civilized or colonialized, they behave like savages. Like they behave there, they behave over here in the West. But those who come from those type of ex-Commonwealth countries, like India or the West Indies, those type of populations have a lot of British culture of that time in their own society, and they're the ones that tend to integrate more better than other type of immigrants, basically. Explain why 50s and 60s in the United Kingdom, the first wave of immigration came, but it wasn't so much of an impact because they knew how to integrate, because they already know the language, all the customs and stuff like that. But those people who don't know the language, don't know how people in other countries, their society works, customs, laws and stuff like that, and especially where colonialism never run them as civilization or civilized them, they are savages. It explains why most of these illegals, they come from places which Western civilization hasn't even touched them. Only the negative things of Western civilization of today, not that of the past. Wokeism, consumerism and all that stuff is the white man's poison for these so-called natives of other far-long places, and basically they think, oh, slavery's been abolished 200 years ago. No. You're a slave of white man's modern life. The way he consumes society, culture, and the way of just living every day has probably swept away those traditional ways of living where they came from, which probably in many cases have more better moral values in respect of this so-called open liberalistic Western society of today.